call this meeting of the Alvin Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present and that this meeting has been duly called and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. If you'd all stand, we'll have a prayer by Mrs. Peterson.
Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we praise you for giving us the opportunity to learn and grow through your presence and love within our school community. We ask you to guide us on the right path for a successful future, and we give thanks that you are with us every step of the way. Grant us the strength and humility to learn from our mistakes, and bless those who help us to achieve, making sure that we are the best that we can be. Help us to have love for one another, to have forgiveness in our hearts, and to build kindness into every day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
First thing we have, we'll public hearing to discuss proposed 2019-2020 Alvin ISD tax rate.
President Humbert, Board, Superintendent Nelson, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you again, to share a little bit of information about the budget development process, and this evening specifically about the tax rate setting process. So as y'all can recall, we have been going through a lengthy series of conversations dating back to April of last year. And I think if the gentleman in the back could help pull up the presentation, we would appreciate it. But the board started having these conversations in April, looking at a lot of different information related to setting the budget, setting the tax rate. April 23rd was the first meeting, and then May 6th, and then May 29th. And then we actually had our first official public hearing at the meeting on June 26, 2019. This year, the budget development process was a little bit different than we typically experience, and that is because, as you are all well aware, the state legislature was in session, and there was a lot of conversation related to House Bill 3, which has since been passed. It was passed on June 11th, and it provided pretty sweeping overhauls to school finance and has tax compression implications for school tax rates across the state of Texas. Alvin ISD was impacted in a significant way, just like other school districts were. And so this made the process of developing the budget and subsequently setting the tax rate a little bit more challenging. So we had the first budget hearing, and when the budget was adopted under some assumptions. And those assumptions were predicated on the values that you see here. That is a major component into building a budget. As you can see, we are a fast-growing community from multiple standpoints. One, of course, from values, from development of commercial, but particularly from residential development in our community, in our 252 square miles. So you can see the increase in the values, but districts are comprised of different types of makeup. For us, much of the value increase, is based on residential growth, and with residential growth, of course, you have an increase of students. And so we've seen that year over year in Alvin ISD. We continue to see a large increase of students exceeding 1,000 every year. This year has been no different. So the board placed a high priority as they were developing the budget and working to approve the budget on making sure that our students were taken care of in the classroom, making sure that we were accommodating student growth. And so you can see the budget was approved on June 26th, and the budget approved by the board did just that. Places priority on instruction, places priority on student programs and student learning. So this is a really informative chart that you see right here. In the center of the large pie chart is Alvin ISD's budget, the approved budget, represented visually. In the top right-hand corner, you see a box. This is the latest statewide comparison information from across the state by which we can benchmark ourselves. But I think the board and the community should really be proud of the priorities that are evidenced by this budget. You can see the approved budget has 50% of expenditures in Alvin ISD going directly to instruction. In the state, the average is 55.3%. So you can see our priority is higher on instruction here than the state average. General administration is always an expenditure that people ask about, question, and in the state average, about 3.4% of school district budget goes to general administration. Here in Alvin ISD, it's 2.3%. School leadership, counseling services, and instructional leadership is about 10.8% in aggregate across the state. We're at 9.8, so just slightly below that. But our maintenance and operations department it does a tremendous job with a smaller percent of the budget than across the state. We're at about 9%, whereas the state is at 11.45. So I think the community and the board should be proud of the budget that was approved, but that has already occurred. So our public hearing tonight is really in regards to the tax rate. When the tax rate was originally published in the newspaper and for public notice, it was under old law prior to House Bill 3. Since we have had a couple months to better understand the implications of House Bill 3, working through conversations with the board, we're able to set the appropriate tax rate, or propose a tax rate to the board this evening in light of this budget, and you will see that visually represented here on the screen. And I think the board will be pleased and the community will be pleased as well. You can see that there is actually a reduction, and a fairly significant reduction over the prior year tax rate. The prior year tax rate in Alvin ISD was $1.45, and the tax rate that's being proposed this evening is $1.3977. So that is a reduction in the overall tax rate of 5.23 pennies. And so that is the tax rate that we proposed this evening. We feel that it will enable us to fulfill the obligations of the budget that was approved in June. Are there any questions from the board? Are there any questions from anyone in attendance? That concludes our public hearing for the evening. Thank you, board.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Next, we will go into the introduction of the greeters.
Hello, everyone. I want to make your way right up here. Keep them right around there. These are our greeters tonight. They are awesome students from Sanchez Elementary School, and under the leadership of Rosemary Reed. And these students have come because they wanted to say thank you to our board for helping them get a new school. And they were very excited about their brand new school, their new building. And so they brought some gifts for you. So students, if you could we get one student to tell us what they have? Let's see. Your hand went up first. You want to come over here? Harper. Okay. Harper, can you tell us what you have for them?
So I have letters that I want to give out to people that don't have bags. So for y'all supporting our school, I like the way y'all go to our school and y'all support it. Y'all keep it clean. We make lots of money. And I like it, and I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming to Sanchez Elementary.
Thank you, Harper. And so what you can't see is they do have a necklace that is Sanchez Elementary, a little brag tag, and those are what they get when they do a great job in school. So they brought some of those and some letters that were handwritten. So friends, if you can just turn around where you are. There are people behind you, and let's give them a bag and a necklace. A brag tag.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. I didn't know. I have one. anyone else need?
I don't have one yet, so should I wear it right now?
I want one. I do need one.
I did think that. Oh, here, I'll take this one. Thank you. I got a necklace.
Wait, you read
Thank you.
Did you draw that?
Did you make this?
Thank y'all very much.
It's from your bag. It's very nice.
Thank you very much. They did ask if they could get a picture with the boards, so would you mind coming around just for a minute?
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, okay.
Did you get me one?
Precious.
Or just stand where you are, whatever works for you.
I'll share. I think we're gonna stand.
Okay, if everyone will squeeze in, and we'll get that picture. Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. And friends, if you will just follow us. Thank you for the gifts, friends. I know that they love them, and that is a pretty special gift. So thank you so much. If you want to come this way, we'll get you. Come right this way. Here we go. There you go. Thank you. We appreciate y'all coming in today. So we're going to move right into our commendations. And we're going to recognize some students with the Duke Tip. The Duke Tip 7th grade talent search identifies academically talented 7th graders based on standardized tests. Candidates are invited to take the ACT or SAT college entrance exams as a 7th grader, which allows them greater insight into their academic abilities. We're pleased to recognize and announce those students who qualified for grand recognition, which is a national acknowledgement, so it's a pretty big deal. These honorees scored the top 4% of all testers and were invited to attend a special ceremony at Duke University. So that's pretty good. That's awesome. So students, when we call your name, if you'll come up, and please help me in congratulating the following students. Kaylin Long from Rodeo Palm Junior High. Isabella Maraldi from McNair Junior High. And then Michelle Chin, I don't think she was able to be with us tonight, but she's from Nolan Ryans. So great job, students. Parents, if you want a picture, you're welcome to come up and get one at this time. Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations. Okay, board, next is our Education in Action 2019 Lone Star Leadership Academy camps. These students, they attended a camp here all over the state of Texas. They went to different cities, and what they did was they were invited to come based on their leadership abilities. So they got to come learn all about the state of Texas and learn about leadership and take that back to their campus. So we're really excited to announce these students that got to participate in this. So students, when I call your name, please come up as well. So we have Brenna Cole from Alvin Elementary. Kylie Kessler from Alvin Elementary. Trace Martinez from Alvin Elementary. Kylie Stavinoff from Jeter Elementary. Leland White from E.C. Mason Elementary. Kyle Morris from Fairview Junior High. Mia Navarro from Fairview, I don't think was able to make it tonight. Arshini Dishnakumar. And from McNair Junior High. And then Shivi Padilla from McNair Junior High. Harris Gabriel from McNair Junior High. Daniel Frias from Passmore Elementary. Kaylin Muniz from Passmore Elementary. Christian Miller from Nolan Ryan Junior High. Ignacio Gomez from Rodeo Palms. And Mackenzie Tyron from Rodeo Palms. So great job, students. Parents, now please come up if you'd like to get pictures.
Smart. It was a smart girl.
Great job, students. I'm very proud of you, and as I know the board is. Great job. Thank you. You may come. We also have one more for the Duke Tip Casey Cochran. Casey here? Cochran.
Is she not here?
Is that right?
No.
Okay, board, the Shadow Creek High School Wind Ensemble, under the direction of Joshua Mooney, recently finished ninth at the TMEA Honor Band competition. This competition recognizes the outstanding concert band programs in the state of Texas. It's a 3-round process with bands submitting at the region level first, at which the bands are ranked, and the top 2 bands advance to the area level. Where again the bands are ranked and the top 2 bands in advance to compete at the state convention. And guess what? They have done it. So they finished ninth. So Mr. Mooney, would you please come up? And I'm very happy to say the Nolan Ryan Junior High Band also competed in the junior high division of the honor band this summer. Mr. Hunter's varsity band finished in 6th place out of 16 groups. So the last time Nolan Ryan competed in this process, they finished 11th. So great job. And so Mr. Hunter, Bo Hunter, would you come up? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and board, as many of you know, because you were there witnessing this, we had the great honor of getting to surprise one of our staff members on campus, live on television. So, Great Day Houston has a competition where it's the Red Apple Award for teachers that are outstanding, that show that they go above and beyond, which we know our staff do on a daily basis. But this teacher really stood out to one person, and they nominated her for this award. And out of, they give 10 of these away a year. And so she was one out of thousands of entries. So we are super excited to have Jeanette come up. So please come up. And she's going, Ms. Milmo is going to receive a commendation for us. And she's with Fairview Junior High. She actually won a monetary award and won a monetary award for her campus. So that's a pretty big deal. We're very excited. Our kids are super blessed to have you in the district, and we are as well. So congratulations, and thank you for all you do for all our kids, because that you obviously made an impression.
So they had a couple of students come back that were Miss Miller's students, and they were two boys, and one of them made the comment when the moderator or the lady asked, what is it about her? And he said, she makes the good kids great, but she makes the bad kids good. I just loved it. I think he's a freshman or a sophomore at Alvin High School now, but I just, the impact that you've had, thank you so much, and that you continue to have for our students. Thank you.
And that concludes our commendations for today.
Next, we'll go into a presentation from the Special Education Department.
Good evening, President Humbird, members of the board, and community. I'm Lori Breeden. I oversee federal and special programs for the school district, and it's my pleasure tonight to introduce Ms. Sarah Chauvin, our Director of Special Ed, to give you a brief overview of what's going on in the special ed.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share some of what we do for our students who receive special education supports here in Alvin ISD. Now, our big picture, the past few years has been kind of dominated a little bit about a newspaper article everyone may have read related to whether or not Texas has had issues with the identification of students with disability and getting those students the appropriate services. So in January of 2018, the Office of Special Education Programs came to Texas, did some visits, and did note that there were indeed some issues related to a perceived 8.5% cap that was set through some of the previous monitoring systems, and they found that because of that perceived cap, that the state of Texas as a whole, the Texas Education Agency, had failed to ensure that students with disabilities had received their free and appropriate public education. And they also found that the Texas Education Agency kind of failed in its role to monitor how districts were implementing special education in the state of Texas. Knowing that this finding had been made, as we were approaching the 18-19 school year, we did some strategic planning of our own, wanting to make sure that no child went unfound in Alvin ISD. We were very strategic in trying to locate students that may not have been previously referred for an evaluation for special education, but who they may be eligible for special education services. We did this looking at some of the data that we had in place. We analyzed information about our students who currently receive accommodations under Section 504, because we know that those students do have disability conditions that impact them at school, looking primarily at students who are receiving those accommodations but still demonstrating that they might be having some difficulties in school, struggling with STAR assessment, struggling in some other areas. We also used some information from the MAP assessment that's given to our students, focusing on students that were performing below the 15th percentile as students that we needed to look at a little more closely and to determine if they needed to have an evaluation to see if they did meet criteria for special education supports and if they needed to have a plan in place for them. As you can see, we did have quite a bit of growth. And we have had growth in previous years in special education numbers and in the number of evaluations that we complete, just like we've had growth in our district. So it really wasn't a surprise to have growth. We did have quite a bit of growth in the number of evaluations that we completed. So in the 17-18 school year, we completed 469 initial evaluations of students. In last school year, we completed 738 initial evaluations for students. And that ranges anywhere from our students who are age 3, being assessed for whether they need special education as they're entering school for the first time. We've assessed students who attend private schools as well as our students who are currently enrolled K through 12 programming. So that was quite a jump in evaluations. Of those students, about 3/4 of them were found to be eligible for special education supports, and they did have individual education plans developed for them. And so our numbers as of the summer of 2019, 3,262 students were found to be eligible for special education and receiving services in Alvin ISD. So we are well above that 8.5%. We serve almost 12% of our students in special education in Alvin. So some of the supports that we offer for academics, we have, gosh, as for as long as I have worked with Alvin ISD, provided a wide range of supports for students to support their academic progress. Many of our students, in fact, the majority of our students receive their special education supports within the general education classroom or mainstream setting. And so many students receive accommodations and they have case management from a special education teacher. We have some students who receive inclusion support from a paraprofessional that checks in with the classroom teacher, provides some support on targeted assignments. We have co-teach support at our secondary campuses where we have 2 certified teachers providing support for our students. General education teacher helps make sure that they have ongoing access to rigorous curriculum. Special education teacher makes sure that they have their IEP goals met and their accommodations provided the way that committees come together and decide that they should be. For our students who are struggling, are multiple grade levels below what we would want for them to be, we have resource intervention where they are pulled into smaller groups with a resource special education teacher to provide instruction that is really targeted to meet their identified goals and needs that they have outlined in their IEP. For our younger children, we have pre-K inclusion, where we provide support to our students with disabilities who are attending general education pre-K. We also have our early childhood special education or PPCD program for our younger students who need more intensive supports to help them build their communication, their social, and their self-help skills. And then for our students who have more intensive needs, we have our fundamental skills program. It's a program that has an alternative curriculum developed based on a student's goals. Everything is very individualized, I'll say over and over again, based on a student's goals, based on what a student needs. Also focusing on building up those skills of independence, self-help skills, employability skills that a student might need. And then for our students who have significant health needs that prevent them from being able to attend school on a campus, we provide homebound instruction as well. For our students who have social and behavioral needs, so our students who may have conditions like attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, emotional behavioral difficulties, students with autism, we also provide a wide range of supports. A relatively recent class that we have introduced at the high school level geared towards our students who have social skills concerns, like our students with autism, is a class called Making Connections. So it's a TEA approved local credit that our students can earn, and the curriculum is focused on building social skills and kind of working to build those independent employability skills that we know that our students need to have to be successful. Across all grade levels, we have a program called PASS, or Positive Approach to Student Success. Our PASS teachers and our PASS paraprofessionals work with our students who have behavioral concerns within the general education class. So they're like a behavior coach. They intervene as they need to, but as one of my teachers used to say, my goal is for them to get back out on the field or get back out into the general education classroom so that they get the curriculum that they need. For our students who need more significant support, we do have some self-contained behavioral programs that all of them are focused towards working into more inclusive settings once students demonstrate that they have the behavioral skills to be successful within the general education classroom. So our ASD, or Acquiring Social Development class, is designed for our students on autism spectrum. They start out within the ASD class for the majority of the day, really focus on building their functional communication skills, their social skills. They work a lot on kind of how to address any sensory needs that they may have, at the same time being able to provide them with TEKS curriculum that they'll need to continue to make progress in their general education curriculum. We also have structured learning classroom that is designed for our students who have more intensive needs, both academically and behaviorally. And so, again, these are fairly recent classes. We have had them at the high school level beginning last school year, the junior high last school year, and beginning this school year, we'll have an SLC class at elementary level as well. Those classes are very small, a lot of intensive support to build up those students' skills. And then our district behavior class, our DBC, is for our students who have pretty significant social and behavioral difficulties, and that might present a safety concern. And so we work with those students, providing them with a lot of intensive behavioral support, a lot of social skills instruction. Again, with the focus of let's gradually introduce them back into a general education classroom environment. We also provide a lot of related services, which are additional supports for our students, and we have a wide range. The majority of our related services that are provided are related to speech and language therapy. We also provide occupational therapy, physical therapy to address fine motor and gross motor skills, music therapy and adapted physical education, psychological services and counseling, assistive technology, and sometimes that is as simple as low tech as the accommodations that we provide within a classroom, all the way to our students who have AAC or alternative communication to help them be able to communicate with others effectively. We have in-home parent training to help support students to not only demonstrate skills within the school setting, but to help build their skills within the home and community setting, and to help provide parents with the strategies that we utilize within the school to help their students be successful. And then, of course, transportation. We have a fabulous transportation department that gets our kids where they need to go. Another big area of support that I think is important from age 3 on is related to transition. Now, legally, every student before they turn the age of 16, and our students with autism a little bit earlier than that have to have a transition plan. The art committee has to talk about what are the supports and services that need to be in place to help this child integrate successfully or transition successfully from the services and supports they receive within the public school setting to what their life is going to look like as an adult. So I've listed out the different areas that are addressed within those planning discussions. Those areas may look different depending on a student's area of need. Some students, the conversation is geared more towards what are the supports and accommodations that you may need in college, and how can you access those accommodations once you get to college. For some students, we're geared towards what are some of your career goals and what are some of the employment skills that you need to be able to achieve your career goals, and what are the classes and the coursework that we can guide you towards to make sure that you can meet those goals. Some students, they need to have transition goals more related to what is your daily living going to be like? You know, what is your living situation? What supports will your family need to make sure that you have your daily needs met, and to make sure that you can have employment opportunities within the community as is appropriate. So as a part of that, a lot of our students receive those transition services within their high school classes, within our career and technology education programming, with some of our special education programming that we have that is designed to build vocational skills. For our students who are 18 and older, we also have 18 plus programming at each of our high schools. That is really designed to help build independent living skills and give students the opportunity to develop employability skills kind of within a protected setting, and then also within the community with the support of job coaching to help them. Now, can't talk about special education without talking about some of the updates from our last legislative session. Some of the big changes related to special education have to do with funding. And so what the legislature looked at and made some adjustments with funding had to do with the weight for our students who are spending all of their time within general education settings, or our mainstream students. So they have adjusted the weight for those students so that we receive increased funding for those students. They've also added some funding for supports that we provide for our students who have dyslexia. Also provided some additional funding, kind of like an incentive for our students who meet criteria for having college, career, and military readiness. All of this really, I think, recognizing that our students do well when they have the opportunity to access the same types of educational programming, career programming that all of our students are able to access. So some of our success stories. With our performance-based monitoring analysis system, we have several success stories. Our students who receive special education services, we have a very low dropout rate, so we do have a very good graduation rate. The majority of our students spend 80% or more of their time within general education settings, receiving their specialized support, at the same time receiving full access to the general education curriculum that is available to all students. And our disciplinary removals are below the state rate. So I attribute that to the talent of our behavioral supports, our teachers and our paraprofessionals who work with our students who may have some of those emotional and behavioral challenges that otherwise might lead for them to have discipline placements. Some other glows, we have had limited TEA complaints, due process hearings. I think that's a testament to our commitment to have parents be involved in the process of developing these plans with our students. We want to be partners with our parents. We want to be proactive if parents have concerns and address those concerns to the best of our ability before it escalates to a point where a parent feels like their only recourse is to file a complaint with TEA or to file a due process hearing. Some of our areas for growth, there are some areas on our PBMAS that we want to continue to work on improving. One of those being our achievement on the state assessment in reading and writing. In order to do that, we have sent a large number of our teachers to receive some training with Region 4, Read and Write, to try to build their toolbox of strategies to provide quality instruction. We also want to continue to work on our regular early childhood participation rate. While the majority of our students who are receiving special education in K through 12 are receiving most of their supports within general education, our early childhood students, about 20% of them do. So we want to work on that. Some of our other areas of improvement, as I referenced before, there are a number of initial evaluations increased pretty significantly last school year. And as a result, we did have some issues with meeting those initial referral timelines. And so we're constantly working on building systems in place to help equip our evaluation staff on getting those evaluations completed in a timely manner so we can get students the services that we need. We're also always continuing to work with our teachers on building some consistent systems for progress monitoring and documentation of accommodations. So if a teacher asks, okay, how is the student progressing? What are the accommodations that they've received? We need to be able to produce that information for them on a consistent basis. So that's an area that we're continuing to work and providing some support. So did the board have any questions?
So we start providing services as early as age 3, right?
Yes, sir. We have an early childhood assessment team. We can receive referrals either from ECI or parent referrals if they have concerns with their children.
Do you know about how many kids we service that are not in our school district?
Currently, our students who are receiving services in non-public day schools, we have 8 currently. So a very small number of our students that we have had to service. We do have some students who receive support through the Galveston-Brazoria Co-op of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. We have fewer than, I think it's around 20 students who are receiving services in Clear Creek ISD due to their needing to have some specialized support in that area.
Any other questions?
How has, you talked about the growth around 2018 because of the article. How has the state helped to accommodate that growth? Has the state helped to
There has been some assistance with that. Last year, we were able to apply for an evaluation capacity grant, where we were able to provide some information to the state regarding the number of evaluations that we were completing, the number of students who were needing to have some compensatory services because we determined that maybe we should have identified them a little bit earlier. And so as a result of that grant, we did receive some additional funding that helped us offset some of the additional support that we provided our evaluation personnel to make sure things were completed timely.
Thank you. You mentioned the math assessments. What are you doing? How do we look at our younger kids, like kindergarten, first grade, when there isn't necessarily parent or doctor identification? How are we helping to identify those children?
We have, with some of our kindergarten students, we have utilized in the past results of some of the early child assessments. Of course, as students who attended pre-K as they're transitioning into kindergarten, We can look at their pre-K readiness assessments. We can look at information from the PAPI and other instruments to help us identify kindergarten students who may be needing some additional support. Now, if you didn't have any additional questions, I do have the honor to introduce Ms. Emily Dempsey, just to give you guys a first-hand account of from a student who's received support through our department.
Hi, my name's Emily Dempsey, and before I start, I just want to thank my dad, and I want to thank my teachers, Ms. Garcia and Ms. Shelton, and all my teachers that helped me in the past. And I just want to thank everybody, judges, for helping me get out into the classes. And let's begin.
Good evening, board. My name is Heather Monaghan, and Emily and I have both decided that we have stage fright, although she did not demonstrate that in the microphone just now. But we're going to just do a little bit of question and answers. Are you ready? Okay, tell us, Emily, where do you go to school?
I go to school in Alvin High School.
And where was Miss Garcia, your teacher?
She was in Fairview Junior High.
Okay. Tell us, if you had to choose one of your academic classes at Alvin High School to tell us about, whose class is it, and then tell us a little bit about it.
Well, one, it's English, and her name is Miss Collins, and I learned the water cycle, and yeah.
What were those words that you were telling me that you guys were learning? I think one of them was simile.
Oh yeah, we were learning about sentences like simile and metaphor, and we were talking about 9/11 today and yesterday, and we're going to probably talk about it tomorrow.
Okay. And tell us, what is your favorite thing about school?
I like learning, and I like learning, and
That's a big thing. You
yeah.
like learning? Tell us, last year in Miss Garcia's class, why did she call you her master chef?
Because I cook all kinds of like stuff like cookies, sushi, Oreo, cheesecake, all kinds of stuff like cupcakes, and I make homemade stuff.
Nice. She really did make sushi in Miss Garcia's class last year.
It was a little bit hard, but it was really easy when how you do it.
Good. And tell us, Emily, what do you want to do after high school?
After high school, I want to make enough money so I can make my own business, and I want to buy a building so I can call it Emily's Gift Shop. And so I really wanted to like show people that someone like me can get their dream come true. And I really, really wanted to get a business. So
Is there anything else that you would like to tell our board and our superintendent while you have the floor?
I just want to thank you again for giving me a chance, and I think you're really nice people.
Thank you very much. All right, next we'll move on to the consent agenda item A through I. Anybody want to pull any of those? All right, in that case, do we have a motion to approve consent agenda A through I?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Winterstrom. Second.
Second.
Second by trustee Scheibel. Any questions or comments? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have a request to consider approval of revision policy FDB local.
So board, this is just a tweak of our policy to address our campus assignments for students at campuses that are over capacity due to our fast growth.
Okay. Do we have a motion that the Board of Trustees approve the revisions to policy FDB local?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a second.
I have a motion by trustee Peterson, a second by trustee Tonini. Any questions or comments? In that case, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have request to consider approval of 2019-2020 Alvin ISD tax rate.
So Board, as you saw, Dr. Combs's presentation tonight, public hearing for the 2019-2020 Alvin ISD tax rate. The proposed rate for maintenance and operation is $1.0683, and the interest and sinking, or INS, is .3294 for a total tax rate proposed $1.3977. So we're asking for recommendation to the board to approve the tax rate of $1.3977.
So we have a motion to approve the total Alvin ISD property tax rate of 1.3977, which is 0.0523 cents lower than the prior year's adopted rate of $1.45. The property tax rate will be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of $1.3977, which is effectively a 5.62% increase in the tax rate.
So moved.
A motion by trustee Pickering,
Second.
second by trustee Harris. Any questions or comments? In that case, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Board. So that is a reduction, and our tax rate will be $1.3977, with the previous year being $1.45.
Next, we have request to consider approval of required advance funding agreement with TxDOT for installation of a traffic signal on FM 1462 and County Road 185 for Nelson Elementary.
So this is in reference to the to the traffic signal that has been installed for Nelson Elementary at FM 1462, and it's the construction of the turn lanes as well as the traffic signal, which goes on to County Road 185 to support traffic safety that's necessary for our students and our transportation. And so it's defined by the engineers in the traffic impact analysis. These funds were budgeted in our 2015 bond project.
We have a motion to approve the required advance funding agreement with TxDOT for installation of a traffic signal on FM 1462 and County Road 185 for Nelson Elementary, and authorize the superintendent or her designee to execute the final agreement.
So moved.
So moved. I got a motion by trustee
Scheibel.
We have a second? Second by trustee Winterstrom. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have request to consider approval of listing tax resale property located on East Highway 6.
So Board, this is a request for you to consider a professional services agreement to select a licensed real estate agent to coordinate the sale of a piece of property on East Highway 6 that is an excess of 4.1 acres, and it's in surplus, and authorize us to dispose of the property.
Do we have a motion to listing plus or minus 4.1 acres of real property located on East Highway 6 in Alvin, and authorize the superintendent or her designee to procure a professional service contract with a real estate broker and negotiate the sale and conveyance of the property?
So moved.
Is that-
Sharon.
Got a motion by trustee Harris,
Second.
second by trustee Pickering. Any questions or comments? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have request to consider approval of class size waiver.
Okay, Board, this is an annual waiver that we request due to our fast growth and due to space at our schools. A waiver is required by TEA, and it's needed for class size due to the anticipation of exceeding the 22-to-1 ratio. We've included charts for you to see where we currently are over the 22-to-1 ratio, but we anticipate that throughout the year we may exceed the ratio, so we're requesting waivers for that.
Do we have a motion to approve, be granted for class size waiver?
So moved.
Have a motion by trustee Winterstrom,
I'll second.
second by trustee Danini. Any questions or comments? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have request to consider approval of employments.
Board, some of these teachers were hired and we're requesting approval of their appointments, and it's just continually filling openings that we have, but some of them did start school with us, but this would be approving a contract for them.
Do we have a motion for requested personnel items as presented?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Tonini.
Second.
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 Second by trustee Pickering. Any questions or comment? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have a superintendent's report.
Okay, so with the start of school, we kicked it off really with the Alvin Education Foundation Gala, and many of you participated. The annual gala was held on Saturday, August the 24th at South Shore Harbor, and the event raised over $122,000 for the foundation. And thanks to the generosity of our 350 guests, our sponsors, and our volunteers, and you can see some of the volunteers there. You may recognize Thing 1 and Thing 2, the Cat in the Hat. We have Trustee Scheibel and Trustee Humberg, and then Dr. Combs and Brent Shaw there. Then in the picture next to that, we have the Manville High School administrative team with the Wizard of Oz costumes. And then below, we have all of our servers who entertained the guests that night. It's a great event. The day is coming this Saturday, and I know some of you are looking at the Google Drive to see which schools and what events you want to participate in. Again, our leaders on our campuses and our staffs have done an amazing job reaching out into the communities that we serve and finding different projects to help to give back to our community. So the day's a way for our entire student body and staff of Alvin ISD to show our gratitude to our residents who support us each and every day. Made up of many, but serving as one is our motto for the day. So come out and join us, anyone who would like to volunteer. Then our dedications, our communication staff is working diligently to plan these with the staffs on each of Sanchez and Nelson elementaries. Bell Sanchez Elementary School's dedication will be on Sunday, October the 6th at 2 p.m. And then the dedication for Nelson Elementary will be Sunday, October the 20th at 2 p.m. We hope you can join us. And then finally, I don't know if this is finally, but Alvin High School alumni made the 53-man roster for the New England Patriots. He attended Bemidji State in Minnesota, which was a D2 school. Gunnar Olszewski went to Passmore Elementary. I believe he went to Fairview. I can't remember. He was at Passmore when I was there as an administrator, and he's a great young man. He's the underdog that set a goal for himself. He's committed, persistent, determined, and Coach Bass could speak to that as well as his other coaches. Fine young man, and he's dedicated, and we're so proud of him. He played Saturday evening. Was it Saturday, Coach? Sunday evening, I'm sorry. I did watch the game. And he did punt return for the Patriots. So he was on the field, and so far he's not been cut, and they've picked up other players. Is that as of right now, Coach?
Yeah, that's correct.
Still on the roster.
Playing with a broken nose.
Oh, did not know that.
It doesn't hurt him from returning the punt, so he's all right.
Okay. His older brother also played college ball and moved, I can't remember where he started, but he moved to Bemidji State when Gunnar was there and was quarterback. And then he has a younger brother that plays for Alvin High School Jackets right now, and mom works for us at Nelson Elementary in the library. So family is committed to Alvin ISD, but congratulations to Gunnar and his family and the Alvin Athletics Department too. It's exciting. Oh, finally. Now, Meridiana Elementary classrooms get booked. This began this school year with a way to introduce new books to the community and build their library collection. Based on the ideas shared by Sharon McClintock Miller on her blog, The Library Voice, classrooms are booked with a canvas bag containing a new book to share with their students. Teachers read the book and lead a discussion or an activity with their students, and after finishing the book, the teacher then books another classroom so they too can enjoy the book. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we'll go to open forum, and we have nobody that signs up to speak, so next thing we'll do is, anybody have any future agenda items? In that case, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a second by trustee Scheible. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 7-0.